Going to be a couple of minutes early because my dogs had a shorter walk tonight. Not shorter, actually. I went a little bit earlier with them, so we got back a little bit earlier. And I see we have a couple of people in here talking already. A couple of my regulars I see in here, but I had to come on because I did see that Chris said pizza and beer, and as anybody knows, I never pass up pizza and beer. So I hope everybody is having a good weekend. Unfortunately, it is drawing to an end. I mean, can you believe it already? Here it's 7 o'clock at night, and it's already not even 7 o'clock. A couple of minutes early, and already it's dark out there. It's pitch dark out there, and I got one dog over here sleeping, and the other dog right over here sleeping. So they're pretty much they've had it. All right. It's kind of chilly out there, but they love the cool weather, especially my one dog. My one dog is a border collie, so she's got very long hair. She hates the summertime. It's very difficult for her because she got a full coat. So this time of the year when we're out there walking, she just wants to keep on walking. Not a beer drinker, but sure love, as my John A. Clark says, not a beer drinker, but sure love me some good pizza. Yeah, it's one thing I never pass up is pizza and beer. Hey, what's happening to the espresso and the donuts? Well, the espresso and the donuts, we can do them in the morning. All right. Okay, so we have a couple of things we're going to talk about today. I got something in the mail today, not today. A couple of days ago, I got something in the mail. I got a phone call from one of my regular people that send me a lot of stuff here online, and they said to me they wanted to send me something, not for the shop. They said they wanted to send me something for here at my house because as you guys seen, I did a couple of videos here in my garage here at home, and we started talking back and forth. And like I said, they sent me a couple of other things. But they said to me they want to send me a heater. They said they know down at the shop we have the heater. We have the propane heater, which heats the shop up really well. You click it on, and it moves up. The temperature goes up just like that. But they said, what kind of heating source do I have in my home garage here? And truthfully, in my home garage, there is no heat. So come the wintertime, if I'm doing something out in my garage here at home, it is a little bit chilly in there. I do have a heater that I used to use. It was actually, hey Joe, how you doing? It is a heater that I use here. It's a very small type heater. It heats up the immediate area where you're standing. But they sent me something a little bit different. So let me get out well, actually, what they wanted to do is they wanted to send me a heater, but they said it was a 220 heater. It plugs into a 220 outlet, and most houses don't have a 220 outlet in their garage. Especially me here, it's a normal, regular, a 120 outlet or 110, whatever. So what they said, they said to me, well, we're going to send you something. We'll see what you think about it. So this is the unit here. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see it. Let me turn you so you can see what's going on here. Give me 1 second. I'm going to see where it comes up. This, let me scroll back here so I can see in real time what's going on. This was the heater that they sent me. Let's turn this over here so you can see. This is the heater that they sent me. So that's it. So let's open it up and let's take a look at it and see what it looks like. All right. So let's open it up first. I'll bring it up and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay. Actually, it's a pretty good size. Let's take it out of the bag here. I'll show you what it looks like here. Obviously, that's our plug. This is the heater itself. My dogs are looking at me like, what the heck is going on? What's all that noise? But this is the actual heater itself. It looks like it's probably I'm going to say a little over a foot, and it looks like it's fairly squared off. It has the controls up on the top here. And like I said, it's a regular plug into a regular outlet. There's no special plug needed. That's the end of the plug right there. And that's it. So this is it. There's the controls up on the top. You will see this in the garage here. I don't know how it's going to work, but I'm sure it's going to work pretty decent. Let me just put this down for a second. And we're going to read what it says. Okay. You ready? It says a quiet space heater, whisper quiet, 2-speed high efficiency room heater. And here at my home, I do have a 2-car garage, so this should be able to heat up the garage itself. A programmable timer and a tip over safety. Safety, so if it flips over or gets knocked over, it shuts off. Energy saving eco functions. So, and this is the company here. It's NewAir. I will put a link down below the video here. Now, I'm not going to do it now, but in the future, I will do a video showing this heater in my garage here at home when I'm doing something outside, whether it's for the Jimthecarguy channel or the Get It Done home repair channel. One of the channels I'm gonna do a video on it. I'm not sure which one. Most likely, it's going to be on Jimthecarguy because you guys would appreciate it more than the other channel. But that's it. So that was the only thing I got in the mail when this week. I was kind of surprised when it came in the mail because I never expected it to be such a big box over there too. So all right, let's see what we got going on here. I have to get a heater for my personal use at work too. Yeah, down at the shop too. When you're working at the shop, everything is concrete, so everything is it's in the wintertime. It's pretty cold in the shop. Even though you have a heating system inside the shop and it's running, the floor is really cold. And when you're standing on the floor, that cold, if you're moving around, it's not that bad. But if you're standing in the same place working on a project, that cold just kind of creeps right up through your feet. Or if I'm in the back room and I'm doing some paperwork or writing some bills or doing some research on a computer or something, you're in the same spot. So you kind of, that cold just creeps right into your body. Now there is heat in the building, of course, because the heat is on all the time. But even if you have the temperature up to like 70 degrees, that cold comes right up through the ground and it is cold. So this here is a space heater, hopefully be down there and here at home, and it should be able to heat the shop up here at home fairly decent. Okay, what do we got going on over here? Oh, we got Hayward's in the house tonight. Good to see. I hope everybody's doing good. Throw a wrench at him. Uh-oh, something's going on here. Yes. Holy crow. Joel says gonna need a heater. It is snowing here at my house in Colorado. Oh my gosh, winter has started. Well, I won't rub it in, but actually today out here was fairly decent. It was actually probably about 60 degrees today. It's a little bit cooler tonight when I was walking my dogs, but it was about 60 degrees. But I know out in Colorado, winter comes early and stays late. Uh-oh, somebody gave me a thumbs down, huh? My buddy Nat says that. Who the heck gave Shop Talk a thumbs down days before the shop opened? All right, what do you got going on? Hello, Hayward, throw a wrench at him. Hayward, what's going on? Just listening. Yeah, that's the only thing I ever get in the mail most of the time too is bills. But we'll see how this heater works. What I have here at home is I have a small little heater like that. It was a ceramic heater, so you put it down where you're working, and in the immediate area you were working at, it was fairly warm. But I think that's going to be a lot better. I think I saw, and I have to go on the website to be able to tell for sure, but I think it says it does 250 square feet. So that's a fairly nice size room. The problem is at home here is nice because the ceilings are only 8 foot. But when you go down to the shop and you have ceilings that are, 15 feet high, all that heat that you're producing is going right up to the ceiling, and it really doesn't do you much good up there. So it's nice to have the heat, like something like this, blowing down on your feet. All right, what do we get going on here? Oh, Bill, good to see you here. Hope everything is well with you. I see you're in here all the time. Looking forward to another great episode. Says Super Joe 70, 60 degrees in Ohio. That's right. The summer is still here. Well, the spring or fall or whatever you want to call it is still here. It's not winter yet. It was 68 yesterday, sunny and warm. And I was driving with my Rambler convertible. Today, snow. Disappeared. Uh-oh. Thumbs down disappeared. I don't even see thumbs down or anything like that on here, so I'm not sure where it is. Probably have to go back to a different page to see it for sure. But I will say everybody's entitled to their opinion. It was one of my subscribers says to me, or whatever he said. It was something like don't let the people that talk down to you get to you. And it doesn't really. After being on here for so long, you meet a lot of people, and I say probably 99.9% of the people you meet are all very good people. Occasionally you get somebody who we call a troll, but most of the time we just ban them from the channel, and you don't see them again. And if they can't get you excited, they usually don't bother anyway. All right, what they got going on here? Don't need a heater here. I'm in California. Thanks for rubbing it in. But Northern California gets pretty cold, so I'm assuming you're in the southern part of the state. Snowing here up in Michigan. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I did hear that there was some snow out there in Colorado. I know it was up in the Dakotas someplace too. They got a lot of snow too. Chris, you're in California as well. Okay. It's hard to keep track of where everybody is from, but that's good. Every now and then remind me, and that way hopefully I can remember. There's just so many people come through here. Okay. Now, last week I got sidetracked, and I kind of lost track of the time. And there was a couple of things that the week before, one of my subscribers said to me, and I quote, "What do you do for fun other than fix cars?" And that's exactly what they said to me. So when I'm working, obviously we're working about cars and stuff like that. But truthfully, when it's the weekends or at night, I don't even want to think about a car. Usually if somebody was to, if you're in a group of people and somebody is talking car issues or whatever, I walk away. I prefer not to talk cars when I'm not working, because that's what we talk all day long is car stuff. But what do I do for fun other than fixing cars? Yes, I do still enjoy working on cars. It's a lot of fun. It's a very good feeling when you get a car that's a problem and there's something wrong with it, and you're able to figure out what it is, repair the car, and the customer's off down the road, and they're in good shape. So it is a very good feeling. I do like working on cars. I like working on not only the cars. I like doing, even as you guys know, household projects too, whether it's anything here at home, in my garage here in the shop, or any kind of home maintenance stuff too. So if I'm not working in my shop on cars, I do like doing home projects, and I like working around the house, whether it's fixing the garage doors and insulating garage doors, or putting up a garage door opener, or anything around the house, fixing your sprinklers, or doing any kind of lights or whatever. That kind of stuff, I actually like doing that just as much as I do like working on cars as well. So house stuff around the house I do like doing. And believe it or not, I not recently, but I used to do a lot of camping. Me and my children used to go camping every year. We went camping quite a few times. We used to go at least 2 times in the summertime, during the summer. And we'd go up, and we usually spend 3 or 4 days and some of you guys are from New Jersey, so you know what I'm gonna tell you. But most of you people are not gonna know. Where we used to go all the time was up in High Point, New Jersey, and as anybody in New Jersey knows, High Point is actually the highest point in New Jersey. And what I like about up there is that you have three states come together. You have New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and New York, and up in that corner right there, all three of them come together. So we used to go camping up there all the time. We used to camp out right on the lake. So, you could pretty much walk right down to the lake. You walk down 10 feet and we would go fishing in the lake up there. We used to do, of course, a lot of swimming up there too. We had kayaks, so we used to go kayaking. What else did we do? We used to do all the hiking up along the Appalachian Trail. We would hike up the Appalachian Trail, and actually in High Point, from where our campsite was, we used to hike up this trail. It was called the Blue Dot Trail, and we used to take the Blue Dot Trail up to the Appalachian Trail, and then we'd hike over to on Route 23 where the ranger station is. But we used to go through the woods on the Appalachian Trail and hike over there, go to the ranger station, or go up to High Point to the monument, and then we'd hike it back to the to the campsite. I remember one time actually two stories I'm going to tell you. There was one time we were hiking. We hike up this Blue Dot Trail, and now this Blue Dot Trail, it sounds like it's a very easy trail to hike, but it's not. It's pretty much like this going up, and you have to zigzag up through the terrain to get up and up onto the top. So we hike all the way up there. We get up to the top of it, and we had this tremendous rock that we used to sit up on. Once you got to the top, we used to climb up on this rock, and this rock was probably bigger than a car. It was probably 3 or 4 times the size of a car. And we used to hike up and sit up, climb up on the rock and hang out up on top of the rock and just look out over the whole area where it was all, you're above all the trees, and you could look down and see the lakes. You could look over and see the antenna for the ranger station. But we used to hike up there all the time. So we hike up there this one time, and we go up there, and I might add that rock has been renamed. It's not just a rock anymore. It actually has a name. But it was me and my 3 children was sitting up on the rock, and I said, you know what? Let's take a picture of all of us sitting up on the rock. So we took the camera. Everybody got on the one side of the rock. I set the camera up on the other side, set it up perfect angle on it, and set the timer on it. Go running around, get next to the kids. The camera lens does click, click, and with that, it does a click, click, and the camera falls off the rock down onto the ground. And now that rock is actually nicknamed Broken Camera Rock. I don't have to tell you why. I'm sure you could figure out why it's called Broken Camera Rock, but that's what happened with that. Another time we hike up the same trail, because the Appalachian Trail went right past there. So we always hiked up the Blue Dot Trail to get up to it. So we hike up there. It's a beautiful sunny day, not a cloud in the sky. We go up there and, we hike up the trail. And just before I left the campsite to head up the trail, we took our water, we took our snacks and everything, and we started heading out. I took one rain poncho, and I put it in my pocket just I don't even know why I did, but it was a beautiful sunny day, but I took it anyway. I put it in my pocket, and we take off up the trail. And we're hiking up the trail, and we get up to it. Now, it takes a while to get up there, but we get up there, and we go up, and we hike up there to the Blue Dot Trail, to the Appalachian Trail, and we head over towards the ranger station. We get over to the ranger station, and we're there, and, it's like we look at the sky, and you can see clouds off in the distance, but it's still a nice, beautiful sunny day. So we started, so those clouds look like they're coming this way. So let's get back to the camp. So we're, back when it starts raining. So we start hiking the trail. Now the trail is not a 10-minute walk. When you're hiking from the highway, Route 23, and you're hiking through the woods up on the ridge of the mountain, because the Appalachian Trail at that point is on the ridge of the mountain. It runs right across the top of the mountain. So you look that way down the mountain, and you look that way down the mountain. So we're walking along there. And as we're walking along there, all of a sudden, you start seeing lightning off in the distance. And there is no shelter up there. You're out in the open. There's really nothing you got to do except get wet. So, we're walking along, and all of a sudden, just like that, it started flashing and pouring like crazy. Well, now you have your camera, you have your cell phone, and you have anything else, your remotes for your cars and all that kind of stuff. It's in the pockets, and it's like, well, now we have one poncho. So my one daughter, we wound up giving her the poncho, put it on, and took all of our electronics and everything and put it underneath the poncho, so that way we could at least save our electronics. And just fast as the storm came in, that's how quick it was gone. But I will tell you, we're hiking along the Appalachian Trail. Now, it's up and down and everything else, but the Appalachian Trail is a well-worn trail. You can see where, hundreds of thousands of people have probably walked on that trail. It's worn down pretty good. So when you're walking, it looks like it's all like carved out, sort of like that. And walking on that trail during that heavy downpour from the rain, all that water coming down there, it looked like a river pouring down through the trail. So that was that was one of the many things. I'm going to tell you another story too. Being that we're talking about camping, let me just back up and see what's going on over here. San Francisco. So do your wife go camping with you and the kids? Well, I'm going to tell you a story about that too. You'll get a kick out of this one. And that says, yes, been to the 3 points. Once told people I travel 3 states in 5 minutes. That's true. You can actually walk from here to there and go through all the states, right? All right, what else here we got? Been married 30 years. The secret of being is separate vacations and separate bank accounts. Okay, now we're going to tell a story about some more camping stuff. And then I'm going to tell you some more stuff that I do for fun, other than fix cars and work around the house here. Mrs. Jimthecarguy was going to go camping one time. We finally, me and my kids, talked my wife into going camping. So we actually got a campsite for this month, and we got another campsite for that month. And the beginning of the season, we go up and we went up to High Point, and we camped out up there. And it was very late, but I remember being by the campfire, and that was only me, my 3 children, and I had one other person there with me as well. And was sitting around the campfire. And anybody who knows camping or knows the outdoors, when the sun goes down up in the mountains, it gets dark, just like that. It gets dark. Well, what happened, he was sitting by the fire and, just sitting around talking and everything. And all of a sudden the sun goes down and it's pitch black, and you look around. Now we had the fire going. We had the lanterns. We had like the propane lanterns, or the ones that burn the MAP gas. So we had a lantern there, a lantern there. Our campsite was fairly well lit up. So, we're sitting there, and all of a sudden I hear like a rustling in the bushes. And I take my flashlight, which was right next to me. I reached down and grabbed my flashlight. I turned it on. I turned the flashlight on, and it was probably further away, but it looks like it was within 5 or 10 feet of us. It was probably further, like I said. But I turned the light on, shined the light, and I shined the flashlight right in the bear's face. The bear is standing right there, looking right at us in the campsite. Of course, it scared the bejeebers out of me and everybody else who was there, with us at the same time. So what we did is I grabbed, my littlest one. I gave my son the keys to the car, and we backed away. And as we backed away, and we're heading up the path to get to the car. And at these particular campsites, your car is not right there by you at the campsite. You have to walk through the woods, through a path in the woods, to get back up to the car. So that's what we did. We start walking up the path, heading back to our truck we had there at the time. Go up there, get back, and we're walking up there. I turn around and look, and the bear walks into the campsite, puts his nose right on the picnic table, which was there, which didn't have anything on it. There was nothing there. But the bear didn't know. He walks in, he puts his nose on the table, and he runs his nose right down the table to see if anything is on, for him to eat. And now, of course, there was nothing there. So we're walking up the path, and the bear turns and looks right at us going up the path, and starts walking up the path towards us. So, we got up into the truck, hopped up in the truck, and I have it was my plow truck, actually. So I had a big spotlight on the truck, and we could turn the spotlight to see where the bear was in the woods. But once we got up to the truck, then I don't know whatever happened to the bear. But long story short, we didn't. The kids didn't want to stay at the campsite, so we decided we were going to go home and drive back home and spend the night home, and then come back up the next day. And that is the story of why Mrs. Jim the car guy decided that she was not going camping. She didn't want to be on the outside with a bear. I'm going to tell you another time we're there, right? And we set up a tent, and there's a bunch of us now sitting there. And now anybody who knows a state park knows that you're not allowed to drink. You're not allowed to have any kind of firearms. You're not allowed to have any kind of dogs or cats or anything like that. So we come up, we set up our tent and everything, and it's daylight. And, we get everything all set up, and we put our chairs out, we put our stuff around, and we get a little fire going, and we're sitting around talking. And this guy, I'm going to say like sort of like a hippie kind of guy, comes into the campsite, and his campsite, which is right over past us, and he's over there and he's trying to set up his tent. And everybody up there is very friendly and everything. We're talking back and forth, and the guy is trying to set up his tent over there, and he's trying to set the tent up for probably, I don't know, maybe an hour or something like that, hour or 2 hours or whatever. And he's over there, playing around with it. And, my children and the other people I'm with, they said to him, "Hey, do you want us to give you a hand setting that tent up? We can help you set it up." And he says, "No, man," he said, "I appreciate it. Thank you, but I'm okay." So after probably about, I'm going to say another hour or two, he comes over and he says, "Maybe you guys can help me set the tent up." So anyhow, we got them all set up and everything. But one mistake he did make, he brought his dog with him. I don't care whether you have a dog or not, but the rule in the state parks is you're not allowed to have any dogs, cats, any animals there with you at the campsite. But that's their rule. But I don't care; it doesn't matter to me. So the guy's over there, and he's got his dog, and he's in the tent and everything. And then, long story short, it gets late. Everybody is turning in. And, the fire's burned down. It's pretty dark, and we're looking out there, and it's beautiful because you actually have your tent set up, and you're looking out your tent flap, out the tent flap, and you have a lake right there. You got the moon coming up over the lake, and you can see the reflection of the moon in the lake. It's like a picture. It's beautiful. So, just watching there, and everybody falls asleep, and then probably sometime in the middle of the night, which I'm guessing is probably 2, 3 o'clock, something like that, all of a sudden I hear the dog start barking. Now, when you're in a tent and you're sleeping, you can hear things out there walking around. You have no idea what they are, but you do hear them walking through the campsite, whether it's a deer or it's a bear, or it's raccoons or squirrels or whatever it is. You have no idea, but you can hear them walking around out there. So what happens is 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, whatever, the dog starts barking pretty loud, and there's a lot of people around at all the different campsites. So the dog is barking and barking and barking. All of a sudden, I hear the zipper on the tent for the guy next door go zzz, opens it up, and the dog takes off out of the tent after whatever it was. Of course, now the dog is barking. Everything gets really kind of crazy over there. So I went outside to see what it was. Oh, you know what? Must have been very early in the morning, because it was just starting to get light out. So it was probably even later. It was probably, 4 or 5 o'clock, like that. So I take my flashlight out there with me and look around to see what's going on. And the dog is barking at a tree. And I look up the tree, and there's usually 2 or 3 baby cubs up in the tree, and the mother bear up the tree right behind it. So now the dog is down there barking like crazy. The bear is up the tree. All of a sudden, somebody must have called the ranger, and the ranger came in, and the ranger actually made the guy pack up his tent and the dog and leave. But now it's like the sun's coming up. Now everybody's awake. Now you want to make something to eat, and you can't because the bear is up inside the tree. So it's like, all right, everybody in the car, come on, we're going to go down into the valley to go get something to eat. And when we came back, the bear and the cubs were gone. But what I found to be pretty funny is that you would think that the bear would have protected the cubs, but in reality, it didn't. Actually, you know what? I'm wrong. The bear itself, the mother bear was up the tree first and the cubs were back behind it. I think that's the way it was. So it was strange that the mother went up the tree first and the cubs went up after it. So that was another time at camping. All right. Camping we talked about. The other thing we like doing is we actually, anybody from Jersey knows what I'm talking about. They know what the Delaware River is. We used to go canoeing down the Delaware River all the time. Before I was even married and children and all that kind of stuff, I used to go up there with a lot of friends, and we used to go from Milford, Pennsylvania, all the way down to the Delaware Water Gap, which is about, I think it's like 28 or 29 miles in a canoe. So that would be a 2-day trip. We used to go canoeing down and then camp out in Stokes State Forest overnight. Well, then, once I'm married and have children, I didn't do it with my friends anymore. I used to do it with my children. We go canoeing down, or actually it was kayaking down the Delaware River, or canoeing down the Delaware River, or we'd even get tubes and go tubing down the Delaware River. So it was always a lot of fun around the Delaware Water Gap area. What else do I do for fun? A lot of fishing. I know I have a couple of my subscribers that know that I'm a fisherman too, so I do a lot of fishing. I do a lot of freshwater fishing, mainly freshwater fishing now, more so than what I used to fish years ago. It was all saltwater, but I still do saltwater and I still do freshwater fishing. What else do I do? I used to ski a lot. I don't ski anymore because my knees just can't take that pounding anymore. But I used to ski all the time, ski and racquetball. The other thing I like doing is, believe it or not, target practice. I've been shooting pretty much all my life, so I do like going, target practicing as well. What else? That's pretty much about it. Lots of other things too, but that's just the things that pop into my head, right now. Let's see what we got going on here. My wife and I went camping together once, shortly after we were married. Let's just say some people, my wife, have no business camping. Oh, yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. She told me our idea of camping was the best Western. I can't. Yep, that's true. There's no lie. I know, anybody who's been camping. There's different kind of camping. There's what people call it camping, and it's cabins. You rent a cabin and they call it camping. That's not camping. To me, camping is when you go out into the woods and you pitch your tent and you set your tent up. The only problem with camping out is that there is no bathrooms there. So your bathroom breaks are, pretty not so nice accommodations. That the reason I do like going to High Point is because High Point is decent, because we used to camp out, say, here, and then we'd walk up the trail to where our car was. And they used to have not outhouses. It was big bathrooms, but they were outhouse style bathrooms there with regular, toilets and all that kind of stuff. And then you can go over to the monument area, and you could go over there to the swimming area, and you could actually even shower and stuff. So sometimes camping out is really not that good. One time I was probably, I'm gonna guess it was before I was with my friends going camping, and we come down the Delaware River, and you come down the Delaware River and you camp out in Stokes, and there is absolutely nothing over there. There is no bathrooms or nothing, so you pretty much had to rough it in the woods, So, but I didn't do that with my wife or kids. I just want to warn you of this. My dogs are going to start barking any second now, because Mrs. Jimthecarguy is going to be coming in, and I know that they're going to go berserk any second now. My one dog is over here looking out the front window to see where she is, and then my other dog is standing here to see which way is Mrs. Jimthecarguy going to come in. Is she going to come in this way here, or is she going to come in this way here? Kind of uncertain. I'm not sure why, but my computer shows buffering here. Oh. Okay, there we go. There you go. I knew they were going to be doing that. So I don't know which way she would be coming in, this way or that way. But my dogs are standing right over here now, and they're They're just looking that way and looking this way because they're uncertain exactly which way she's going to be coming in. Joseph, how you doing? Haven't seen you in a while. I hope all is well with you. All right, let me just go back a little bit. I saw something in here. I just want to go back and take a look at it. Okay, eventual 3-1. Okay. Hi there. Okay, now the dogs are happy. Now they're gonna. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's just see what I had. Something I want to talk about right here. Let me just go back here. Gotta love the bear. Okay. Nat says, gotta love the bears. They always ask us to leave their home, and my wife always. Yes, we ought to. Sorry about that. Somebody's calling. Okay. Next time you go camping, carry some pepper spray. But I'm sure there is another deterrent for bit. Actually, you know what, Scott? There really is. I used to go to Pennsylvania, and up in Pennsylvania, I'm sorry, let me just shut this off here. Pennsylvania, we used to go up there a lot. Yeah, we used to go to Pennsylvania a lot, and in Pennsylvania, there is a lot of, where I used to go in Pennsylvania, there is a lot of bears up there. And whenever I took my dogs out for a walk, that's what I always worried about was the bears, bothering us or the dogs or whatever. So up in Pennsylvania, I used to carry bear spray. It looks just like mace, but it's a lot thicker and it shoots a lot further than normal mace would. And it's supposed obviously it doesn't hurt them or anything, but it slows them down so you have time to to get away from them. All right, let's see. Right here in New Jersey, bear hunt is on. Yep, I did see that. Now that I don't know if anybody is a hunter or whatever. I am not a hunter. I don't like hunting, and I prefer to go target practicing at paper targets. I don't do any hunting myself, but to each their own. But I did see that the bear hunt was on. Okay, my wife and I can't together. Okay. Fishing the Delaware for flatheads, but haven't caught one. I haven't really gone fishing in the Delaware. I usually go in the lake, but yeah, it's I usually go lake fishing for trout or not trout. Just reading something here. We'll get back to this in such a second. Just a second. We'll get back to this here. I see something else I want to talk about here too. I go fishing for fresh water. You can get all different. They have all different kinds of fish. What I like is I usually fish for bass. That's what I usually fish for. I don't keep them. I usually just catch them and release them. And then John A. Clark 1 says, you can own a gun in Jersey. Yep, you can. It's not like some of the states, like if you live out, and I know people that live out in the West, and you wanna buy a gun in Utah, you walk into a store, you hand them your driver's license, I want that gun, and you walk out the door with it. New Jersey's not like that. New Jersey is a lot stricter. They do a very, very thorough background check on you. So you have to go through the state police for a background check, and you have to go through your local police department as well. So it is very, very strict, the rules and regulations here. But yep, you can in Jersey if you do it legally and you don't have any kind of criminal problems. You can usually get yourself a gun to do some target practice. I know Joe from Joe's Auto Electric. We were supposed to go shooting one day, but I haven't had a chance to yet. But we will. Okay, Joe's Auto late to the party. Was making sauce. These Italians, I don't know. And just so you know, I'm Italian too. Just so you know. So I'm just making fun of Joe, but. All right, Joe says Joe is doing a nice video. Joe this week. Been all over the place lately. Have some RC tanks to fix for a buddy. Yep, very good, Joe. Bears are not so bad. Lions, they are not fun to me. That's the truth too. A bear really won't bother you. I mean, we've had bears come through our campsite so many times. You just make a little bit of noise, you bang something, and they take off. They're very, very timid animals. They're not like a mountain lion. A mountain lion looks at a person, and what do mountain lions eat? Mountain lions eat meat. And what do you think you are? Meat. So yeah, I agree with you. Mountain lions can definitely be a problem. I wouldn't want to go hiking or camping anywhere with those mountain lions. The other place that's really bad too is I know out in Colorado and places like that you have the grizzly bears. Those grizzly bears out there, that's pretty scary when you talk about a grizzly bear. Or you go up into to Alaska, uh, they have the Kodiak bear up there. You know those things are tremendous. But mountain lions, yeah, that could definitely ruin your day. I only hunt fish. That's a good one. In some states, to buy a gun, you must pass a background check. That's true. In Jersey, it's the same way. Jersey is actually it's very, very strict. You do have to. Not only is it a local police department, you actually have to have the state police. They do a background check on you, and if you have any kind of issues whatsoever, you're not even gonna. They won't. Even, you will not get it. In New Jersey, like if you're in Utah, say for instance, because that's where I know because I have family that lives out there. If you're in Utah and you want a gun and your buddy has a gun and you want to buy it from him, you pay the guy, he hands it to you, and you own the gun. That's it. In New Jersey, it's not like that. If you're going to buy a gun, you have to have the number, the serial number of the gun. You have to have your ID number, and everything has got to be documented for the state. And without you have to go and apply for a permit, and you can't just say I want to buy that. You have to have that permit filled out by whoever you purchase it from, and then they send it through whatever area they have to send it to make everything legal. Um, so yeah, it's very, very much very strict here. In every state, to buy a gun, you must have passed a background check. Yep, I was a bit of, I was being a bit. Yeah, New Jersey is it's very difficult. Jersey City was not issue the Will no, no. Yeah, I can tell you that my buddy McGee 63 says Jersey City will not issue a carry permit, no matter what the state law says. That's true. Actually, you know what? In Bayonne, they won't do it either. And the way I know that is because I know people that have transport a lot of money to the bank, and they cannot get a permit to carry the gun. If they said if you're worried about it, they'll actually send a police car to escort you down to the banks. They won't let you. They won't let you get a carry permit, not unless you're police. Then obviously you can. In Colorado, in the '60s, grizzly bears were fairly common, but not as much as now. Not that much now. But the Rocky Mountains is not the same. Yeah, I guess every place changes, right? Background checks are required in all states. Private sales are different, of course. Oh, okay. Okay. But actually, even with private sales here in New Jersey, if you do a private sale here in New Jersey, you still have to have the permit and you have to have everything documented and sent to the state police. You still have to go through the background check. I could not say, I want to sell a gun to Joe Blow down the street and just give it to him and he walks. He has to have a permit to actually file it and send it into the state police so that gun then becomes his possessions. Okay, I think we're going to call it a day with this stuff here. I do have a couple of things here. I have a couple of people that I was talking to, and I promised them I would help them out with a couple of issues that they're running into. Okay. All right. This one is actually one of my subscribers, and he says his What You Tech, that's the name. This is about a tire pressure monitoring system. The light is on. Um, The light just came on my 2010 CRV this morning. Good video, great information. And they were going to take it to the dealer. What I would do is before you take it to the dealer, you want to definitely check your tire pressure first, because this time of the year when the temperature starts to drop, that tire pressure monitoring light will light up. So it's possible that it's just low tire pressure. But I will tell you this: when you get into a 2010, most of the time, tire pressure, the monitors on the wheels, the monitors are actually mounted on the rim itself, and they have batteries in it. The batteries in there don't last that long. Batteries will probably last you anywhere from like maybe 5 to 6, maybe 7 years, and then the batteries start to fail. When the batteries start to fail, then you wind up that light will pop on intermittently, and all of a sudden it'll turn back off. So most of the time when you got to 2010, already you're 8 years old, because those sensors were probably made in, even though it is a 2010, they were probably made in '09. So it's very possible that the sensors are just, the batteries are going dead. But before you take it to the dealer, you definitely want to check and make sure that the tire pressure is okay. There's another person, Jeff says, so okay, if the sensor has already been replaced, as you just did, this is one of my videos I did, how then do you get the number? You didn't print it on the new sensor. No, you can't print it on the new sensor. When you take a sensor out of a vehicle, or I should say when you're cloning a new sensor to put it back in there, all of the sensors that I put in, I actually have in my computer, and I also write it on the customer's receipt. I put in there the number of the sensor that came out, so that way they have a copy of it. So you do need to write it down, whether you write it on the bill or wherever you're going to write it. It does need to be written down someplace. All right, next one is a 2006 Hyundai, and this Pokemon Guy 16RS. That's his name. I had a friend of mine drive with a misfire for 50 miles to get to a shop ASAP, mostly highway, and he knew he didn't want to drive much longer. Truthfully, at 50 miles, 50 miles is a long time to drive with a misfire in the engine. During that 50 miles, okay, blinking check engine light time to time, but supposedly he managed to get to the shop, and it came out that it was a stuck fuel injector and some O2 sensors. Do you think this would cause anything to his car? Yes, it will. When you drive a car and that check engine light is blinking like that, a check engine light blinking is not good. Blinking check engine light, the check engine light means there's a misfire in the engine bad enough to cause the catalytic converter to start to fail. So yes, it is very possible that driving it for that distance, you're going to wind up destroying the catalytic converter. So whenever you have a misfire in the engine and you have a check engine light that's blinking, you really need to pull the car over to the side and get it in to have it checked, just to make sure, that you get the misfire corrected. Because when you have a misfire, all that raw gasoline is going down inside the engine, and all that raw gasoline is going to wind up destroying the catalytic converter. Okay, this is a JO27, says my Impala's heater wasn't blowing hot. Then I put in a new thermostat. Comes to find out it didn't have a thermostat to begin with, and now my car started overheating. I will tell you this, that every car has got to have a thermostat in it. Even though your car is overheating now, you need to have a thermostat in there. If you don't have a thermostat in your car and your car can't reach normal operating temperature, it's not going to go into closed loop. And therefore, you're going to get lousy fuel economy. You're going to carbon up your exhaust, carbon up your plugs, your catalytic converter. So you absolutely have to have a thermostat in there. The thermostat is going to regulate the temperature, so it's going to stay in a normal operating range. Cars today, they run anywhere from up to like 220, 230. So it's very important that the car gets hot and stays hot. As far as overheating, it could be a lot of different things causing it to overheat. You absolutely have to have a thermostat in there. You probably want to check to make sure that it really is overheating, because I've seen it before where you think you're overheating and it's really not. The gauge on the dashboard could be showing it's overheating, and it may just be an issue with the gauge itself. So, but you definitely have to have a thermostat in there. 2003 Ford Taurus, no crank, no start. And this person says, my subscriber, I hope you are. I hooked my starter up. I hooked my starter back up, but when I crank it, I get a whirling sound. I get a jump start, and it's fine, but it won't crank on its own. Any idea? And it says maybe I should check the cables are tight. Absolutely. If you can jump start the car and get it to start up, there's a couple things you want to do. Obviously, you want to check to make sure your battery is good. If you have a bad battery, it's going to give you that kind of a problem. Of course, very important, check your battery first. If your battery is okay, then you want to go and you want to check your connections on the battery to make sure that they're okay. You want to make sure your ground wire is connected up properly, and you want to check the output on the on the uh, on the alternator to make sure it's charging the battery back up. If you can give me more information about a whirling sound, what that actually means. Does that mean that the engine is not spinning, not turning over? I'm not really too sure. But if you could send me more information about it, I'd be more than happy to try to help you out. All right, let's see what we got going on here. Okay. This is one thing I want to talk about too. Last week, or the week before, let me just see here, the government of New York would nothing but a ban for, okay. Neither in Newark. I was denied a gun permit, but my friend was granted a permit. Wow, I'm surprised anybody was able to get a carry permit. Oh, wait a minute, I denied a gun permit. Okay, I get it now. It's not a carrying permit, it's just a gun permit. Okay. Very interesting. Okay. The other thing I want to talk about too is that what's your opinion on all this aftermarket stuff? And the reason I even say this is a couple, maybe last week or the week after, I'm driving down the road and there's a guy drives past me and his car was a BMW, was an older BMW. He drives past and the BMW is like gold. It was like, I don't know what the heck he did, but the car itself, it looked like it was made of gold. That's what it looked like. What do you think about all this aftermarket stuff that's going on with the cars today? I seen this other car. We're driving down the road, and you look at a car, and the wheels are normally like this. And this car, the wheels are tilted into the back like this. And you look, and the wheel is up inside the wheel well, where you could see it's actually touching inside the wheel well on it. That to me, it's got to be the bumpiest ride. What other things have I've seen? I've seen cars and trucks that they'll raise the suspension, raise it all the way up, where you practically need a step ladder to get up into the truck. You see a lot of that. Years ago, if you took a truck to inspection and you had that kind of a raised suspension in there, Andy Martin, good to see you. Hope all is okay there. You need like a step ladder to get up inside the thing because it's so high up off the ground. But even when I told you I got people I know out in Utah, you go out there and you'll see trucks out there where they not only raise them, but they have these tremendous tires on it just so they can get the ground clearance. Because when you're off road out there, you're driving through pretty like a very mountainous areas and there's no roads, so it's constantly up and down the hills and stuff. So out there, to have a truck with the raised suspension and the real big tires and everything, it makes sense. But you see a lot of cars, trucks down here in the city driving on the highway, and you'll see one person in it driving down the highway, and the truck is jacked all the way up with these big monster tires on. And then you're driving, and you can hear the tires making noise as you're driving. You can hear that like that noise as they're driving along because the tires on the road make so much noise. What else have you seen? I've seen cars already that have these um, what is it? I forgot what they call it when it's like it's lighting, but it's on like a rope where you'll see they actually outline the car with lights and everything else. It's just sometimes you see stuff like that, and it just amazing. But I did go to a show I think it was in the Javits Center in New York, and it was the car show out there. And those, when you see the cars that are done, and they're real cheesy the way that they're done, and then you go and you look at some of these real professional jobs that are done. That to me, though, that those cars look absolutely amazing when you look at those. Could you drive them in the city? Probably not. But one thing I will tell you, we were at the one show at the Javits over there, and they not only had cars there, but they had this thing in there. It looked like a fish. You get into this thing, it's a fish, and the canopy opens up. They get into it, and they close the canopy down, and it goes out in the water, and it looks just like a fish in the water. And when you get up to speed, this thing actually going through the water, it actually jumps out of the water, like as if it looks like it would be a marlin, like that, that kind of a fish. And they go out in the water, and they actually, submerge and come back up, and it jumps out of the water just like as if it was a marlin you caught, you know. But that's it. That was at some of the car shows. They have some really good stuff like that. Or the one I get a kick out of too is you'll see a car that'll it's a BMW or Mercedes or whatever, and then they got that plastic dip on it. You ever see that plastic dip? It's like that dull finish that they put on the car. You see that a lot too. I know what you're going to say there, John. Compensating for something. That's possible. Well, Jim, I love the Sunday chat. Thank you. I know I wanted to talk about the days of still wheels make me sick because they yeah. Even when I was out west, you see a lot of trucks out there. A lot of people out there drive trucks out there, but you can tell the ones that are actually off road and the ones that never make it off road. They have a saying out there. They call it when you go out and you're out in the mountains or up onto the mountain trails or whatever. That's actually they call that bushwhacking out there. And the reason they call it bushwhacking, as you can tell, down the side of your truck, there's all of the bushes and trees and limbs scratch the whole side of it. But you'll see trucks out there that have these custom murals on the side of it, and they never go off road. You can tell by looking at them. All right, what else I want to tell you? This week's a big week coming up for me too. I don't know if I told you this, but this week is going to be a milestone on the Jimthecarguy channel. Hopefully this week we're going to hit 60,000 subscribers. Do you believe it? 60,000 subscribers. It's not a big number to some people, but to me, 60,000 subscribers, that's an awful lot of people. I think that we're probably close to about 29 million views on all of the videos. I could be wrong, but you know what? Give me 1 second. I'm going to go back and I'm going to take a look. Now I'm curious myself. I think it was 29 million. Let me just check and see. All right, this week we should hit it. Right now we're at 59,758. So we should hit this week. We should hit the big 60,000 subscribers and views. We have over 29 million views. So we have quite a few. Thanks, Chris. When I first started out, I never thought that I would have that kind of subscribers. 60,000. That's a big number. And the way I think about it too is, you look at some of these 60,000, you think, well, that's a lot of people. But then you start to put it into perspective. Go to a football game or go to a baseball game, and you look at all the people in the stands, and you think, wow, there's more people that are in the stands that are actually subscribed to my channel that are actually sitting out here. It's just it's just amazing. All right, that's great. Congratulations, 60K. It's on the way. Yep, I'm very surprised. You should have 6 million. Yeah, I'm surprised. I was hoping it would be a lot more, but 60,000. It is what it is. So I am very grateful for everybody who's watched my channel and all the feedback and all the emails I get. I try to go through the emails. I can't respond to all of them, but if it's something very important, you need to talk to me all the time, or very important, you need to talk to me. Just be persistent. Keep on sending the email because I get hundreds of emails, a day. So it's hard to get through all of them and catch everything that's going on. So all right, let's see here. 2010 Honda. You know what? I think I was talking to you. I think you emailed me. Yeah, you actually, you know what? You sent me an email, I think. I'm pretty sure. You sent me an email, front and rear brakes. I thought so. I think, and I could be wrong. I thought instead of sending me a message through YouTube, you actually sent me an email to my email account, which is Jimthecarguy1 @gmail.com. I'm pretty sure, right? That's you. Yep, I did. Great. Actually, you know what? Before I started my show, I think I just responded back to you that it was a great job, and I'm happy I was able to help you out with it. Believe it or not, and a lot of people say, "Oh, why do you do it? It's for the money and everything." Believe me, it's not for the money. You don't make a lot of money with the videos, but to me, it's a very big thing when I can help people out and I can save people money and help them get the job done. I will tell you this. This is the one that sticks in my head more than anybody else I talk to out there. It actually make me like tightens my throat up because it's very difficult to talk. But this is going back years ago. I was actually helping somebody out who had a problem with a car, and I was emailing back and forth with them what the car was or what the situation was. I don't recall offhand, but I get an email from the guy, and it's like he says to me, I just want to thank you. He says, you really helped me out with this job. He says, I'm in a tough place in my life right now. Money's a little bit difficult. I'm having trouble paying the bills. So I just wanted to thank you for helping me out and getting me through this job. And he said, but the best part about everything, he said, and I might add, this was his wife's vehicle that he was having trouble with. And he said, the best part is, he says that, he said, the best thing is, he said, is that in my wife's eyes, now this is him talking to me. He said, in my wife's eyes, he says, I'm a hero. So it made me feel good that he was able to get his wife's car done, and she really appreciated him getting the car done and helping him through. So I emailed him back. I said, if you really want to be a real hero, I said, why don't you take your wife out to dinner tonight? You saved a lot of money doing a repair, get the car running, take your wife out for dinner, you'll be a real hero. But that sticks in my mind. Who it was or what car it was or anything like that, it really doesn't really stick in my head exactly. But that's one of the situations where that really sticks in my head. I'm going to tell you another one too. I got an email one time from somebody, and a lot of times I don't have a chance to read them all, but this particular email, I read it, and I'm talking to a guy who was having a problem with a Ford van. The problem he was having is that, I have a video up on this one too. It's a Ford van, and it's the summertime. You get in the van and you take off and you start driving around the city. And you drive around normally, and it runs really good. No problem. The air conditioning blows out through the face just the way it's supposed to. But what happened is this guy here would get on the road and he would accelerate. And as he accelerated, all of a sudden the air conditioning would still be blowing like heck. You could hear it running. But what happened is all of a sudden the vents themselves, there was no air coming out the vents. There was nothing. You could feel it a little bit by your feet, but you couldn't feel anything blowing out through the face of it. So he says, could I help him out with I'm a disabled veteran, and there was a bunch of other things that he was telling me. He was also in a tough place in his life too, trouble paying bills, and he was on disability. And long story short, he just didn't have the money to do the repair. And the job that he needed to have done, that was probably going to be at least an 8 or a 10-hour job, because the problem he had was inside the dashboard. There's a check valve inside the dashboard, and the check valve goes bad. The only way to get to that check valve is you have to discharge the air conditioner, drain all the coolant out of it, take the entire dashboard out of the truck, take the whole dashboard out and put it on the ground, take the heater box off, take the heater box, flip it over, and change in the back of there. The check valve is actually, this is the firewall here. The hose comes in through here. There would be the vacuum hose comes in right through there. This is the firewall. This is the heater box right here. And right in here, there's a check valve inside there. That check valve starts to lose vacuum, and what happens when you're accelerating, there's a check valve, and there's also a canister underneath there that holds the vacuum when you're accelerating. Because as you know, when you're accelerating, the vacuum in your engine drops. And when the vacuum drops, all the doors in the heating system or air conditioning, they close and they revert to the lower position, which is down by the feet, or it may even blow out through the air conditioning up on top there. But what happens is I figured out a way of fixing it without taking the whole thing apart. All it costed was a check valve, some rubber hosing, and a canister. And I think for $50, I was able to tell him how to get the job done and get it back together. And I think he was in the Carolinas someplace. I don't remember his name. I do remember the truck, obviously, because it was one that I had a prior experience on. But I don't even remember what the whole situation was. But that's another one that's another reason why I like doing this, because I get to help people out who may be in a tough place in their life, you know. All right, let me just see what's going on here, and then we're going to call it night. I'm going to tell you this. We didn't get to talk about, I did want to talk about this week about, and we're going to have to do another time, because I did want to talk about the 1970s when I first started. I used to work for somebody. We used to do a lot of racing down in New Jersey. It used to be Raceway Park. We used to go to Raceway Park just about every weekend we were down there. So I want to talk about the racing days. I want to talk about Raceway Park. I want to talk about Yorktown, Pennsylvania. Where else did we go? We used to go to a place all the way up Route 23, Island Dragway. We used to go up there all the time. So we used to have 3 or 4 places that we used to go to all the time racing. So we're going to tell some stories at the next Jimthecarguy Sunday night. We're going to talk about the 1970s and the racing from back in the day. So I didn't have a race car. I worked for somebody, and I was their helper. But it's interesting about the stuff that happened. You know, we had a couple of different cars. The one guy had a car, was a Plymouth Fury, and a Fury back then. It was a convertible Fury with a roll bar in it. We had a 383, and he also had a intake. It was called a 6-pack, 3 2-barrel carburetors. And we also had an intake that we used to pull off there and throw on at 2 4-barrels. And, you know, depending on what we were racing, depending on what race we were in, would dictate which intake we had on there, whether it's the 2 4s or the 6-pack. I will talk about another person that came to that shop too, a very good friend of mine, and a friend of the owner of the place too. He bought a rail dragster from a very, I'm not going to mention any names, but he bought it from a very well-known person. And the stories about the trouble along the way of trying to compete with the pros. It was very interesting. So we'll talk about that at the next thing. All right, let's see here. We're going to look at a couple of things here, and then we're going to call it night, because Jimthecarguy is going to relax. All right, save me hundreds of dollars, boost my confidence after doing the brakes. Oh, that's good. I'm glad you were able to get it done. But just, you know, what I tell everybody is that sometimes things look like they're overwhelming. And I used to tell my mechanics this all the time, because my mechanics would come in and they would panic. It's like, oh, I can't do that. You know, I got to do this, 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 and this. And I always tell everybody, don't look at the entire picture. Look at what you have to do right in front of you. Get that part of the job done, and then move on to the other part of the job. And little by little by little, you'll get the job done. Don't look at it as a whole big picture. Oh, it's 12, 15 hours. Just do step by step, and you should get it done. But I'm glad you got it done. And the best part is you drove the car and it actually stopped. That's always a good thing, right? Okay. Let's see here. Joel says, unlike a lot of videos, Jim, Erico, Robinson's, these guys' videos are real repair fixes by real techs. Yep, that's true. You know, I will tell you that there's a lot of people on YouTube that are not professional. There's a lot of backyard people out there doing things that really shouldn't be done. Myself, Eric, Robinson's, there's quite a few other guys out there as well. Professionals. We make a living doing the repairs, and it's not something that's just theatrical for YouTube. It's really real world stuff that's going on. Simon's Racing 187 says, Jim, you saved me from wasting my time changing my fuel pump in the 2004 Impala with the ignition switch video showing how a long crank and no start. Yep, it's true. I mean, a lot of times a simple thing. The Impala is just like I think the video you're referring to, it wasn't an Impala. I think it was a Malibu. And that car drove me crazy. I can't tell you how many times I had that car. The customer called me up, it didn't start. Send the tow truck and tow it in. Get the car towed down to my shop. They drop it outside the shop. I get in the car, turn the key, it starts right up. No big deal. I'll scan it, find out what's going on. Put the computer on it, no codes in it, and you couldn't determine exactly what it was. Was it the fuel pump? Was it an injection problem? Was it a fuel-related problem? Was it a ignition-related problem? We couldn't tell for sure, or even an injection pulse. So that happened, I think, probably 3 or 4 times, to the point where when it happened, I told the guy, call me. I'm not going to send the tow truck, because now I figured the tow truck could be bouncing it around and starting it up. It's an intermittent failure someplace, and maybe with the tow truck it'll start up. And so I said, what happens again, call me. I'll come and look at it. Well, the guy got stuck not far from my shop, probably half a mile away, calls me up. I drive down there. No big deal, Danny. Let me see what it is. I get in the car, turn the key, boom, fires right up, and it runs perfectly. So then this is an older fella. And one day he comes into my shop and he says to me, I figured out what the problem is. He says to me, it's the door lock switch. The door lock switch is no good. I said, Danny, it's impossible. The door lock switch has nothing to do with the ignition and the cranking of the engine or anything. And he said, yeah. He says, I get in. He says, I take the seatbelt. Now, this is obviously not the problem, but this is what he told me. He said, I get in the car, I take the seatbelt. I put the seatbelt on. I take the seatbelt off. I put the seatbelt on. I take it off 3 times. And then he says, I plug it in, leave it in. I click the door switch 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, back and forth 3 times. I put the key in the ignition and it starts up every time. And it's like, really? Every time it does? Every time. So I said, well, I'll look into the wiring and I'll see what they have in common. Long story short, they didn't have anything in common. It wasn't the problem, but in his head, he talked himself into thinking that it really was the problem. And as it turns out, you're right. It was the ignition switch, not the key switch, but the electrical switch in the back. All right. Let's see. Rock and Roll, just best mechanic on YouTube. Thank you, Rock and Roll Rick. I appreciate it. I've been around a long time, 42 years for myself. And then before that, I worked for other guys for probably 3 years before that. So I've been around a long time and I've seen a lot of problems. But I tell you, one guy that's really sharp is that Eric O. He's really he's a diagnostics. He's the man. And the same thing with Keith. He's the same thing. They're very, very good diagnostic people. Oh, Ivan, that's right. That's right. I forgot about Ivan. He's Eric and Ivan, my favorites. Thank you. I appreciate it, Chris. Thank you. And you know what the best part is? A lot of times you see people and they're not as pleasant as you would think. But I know all of these guys personally, where we've all met and then sat around and had a couple of beers and talked together. And all of these guys, they're really, really good, honest, hardworking guys. All right, let's see. Hayward says metal round vacuum can and a plastic check valve. That's right. That's right. It was actually, nobody ever ran into this too. And you may have figured this out too. But I was looking at this job and I'm thinking, why do I want to take this whole thing apart? Because this vacuum, you couldn't even see the can either. The can was actually up inside the dashboard as well. You couldn't see it and you couldn't see the check valve. And that's when it came to me. I went up underneath there and I pulled this panel off on where your knees would be. And I said, you have this space in there. It's a spot about this big. I said, why would I have to take everything out to gain access to it? Why don't I just go down to the bottom, snip that vacuum line off, run a different vacuum line from under the hood up through the firewall, and put a secondary, bypass the one that's in there, and put a secondary vacuum canister in there. And it actually worked really good. It was for one of my rental car companies that I do a lot of work for, and saved him a ton of money. So it worked out really well. But you're right, a plastic check valve. All right, Jim, Erico. Oh, well, yeah, you know what, Nat, you're right. Thank you for putting me first. We got Joe, Erico, Mike, the disgruntled mechanic, all a bunch of good guys. I've learned a lot from these guys. I forgot to mention Ivan. Ivan's a really sharp guy too, very much into the diagnostics, but Ivan is not afraid to diagnose and get in there and actually get the job done. And Scanner Danner, yep, Scanner Danner, he's a very good diagnostics guy too. I'm trying to get my mobile diagnostic business going. Oh, Chris, you're trying to get something going? Hmm. Well, Chris, you know most of these guys on here too. If anybody can help you out with any information or anything you need to know, any one of these guys would. But try not to talk to them on the channel, like through YouTube. Try to get their email to communicate with them because, like I said, I'll get 100 emails or 200 emails a day where I can't look at it. But if you send it to my email, the Jimthecarguy1 @gmail, it's more likely that I'll be able to respond to it because I don't get as many sent to me that way. But yeah, that's a pretty good thing. I know Keith is actually doing very well doing the mobile diagnostics type thing where he doesn't actually he'll go and do the diagnostics and any kind of like real big stuff. He'll tell them what to do and they would take care of it. But he's pretty sharp with stuff like that too. Deck's cool. Car says Deck's cool and switch to Honda coolant. If I just flushed out completely, do you see any issues? Um, if you have me personally, Carl, when I do a Honda, I don't use anything but Honda coolant. I've seen problems with the antifreeze in the cars with a Honda. I've had customers come in with a Honda and they had the regular antifreeze in there, and inside that system there was such rust inside that you wouldn't believe it. Me personally, I would use just the Honda coolant. So if you have the Dex coolant there, flush it out and use the Honda coolant. Even though you're going to talk to people and they're going to say, "Oh, it's fine, don't worry about it." Believe me, we use the Honda coolant. I've seen it firsthand myself. That's the only thing I ever use on mine. So, and I own two Hondas. That's all I ever use on them is the Honda antifreeze. Chris, you're in San Francisco. Good luck, Chris. I hope everything works out okay. Well, you have my regular email. If you need any advice on anything, just send me an email and we can try to get through things. May I ask, how old are you? 44. Ah, you're still a kid. 44. I don't even remember 44 such a long time ago. Right now, I'm taking care of my father. It's a full-time job. Yeah, yeah. I kind of get it. I get it, Chris. It's definitely a full-time job. I just went through a lot of stuff myself that you know of, that everybody knows of. Wyatt, how you doing? Good to see you in here. Hope all is well. Okay. All right. I have your phone number too, Jim. Okay, good, good, good. Yeah, Chris, anytime, give me a call. I have yours too, Chris, right? Let me just make sure. Give me 1 second before we hang up. Chris, I probably have it, but if you can email it to me, don't send it on the on the computer on my channel. Email me your phone number too. All right. Okay. All right. I think we're going to call it night. Next week we will talk about the 1970s. I think it started when I was going to Raceway Park. I'm thinking it was like 72, 73, something like that. So we'll talk about Raceway Park. We'll talk about all the cars we used to have. I'll talk about one of my favorite cars. I actually had a 73 Gran Torino. That was a really nice car. That wasn't for Raceway Park. That was my regular car. But we'll talk about Raceway Park and all that kind of stuff too. So, okay, yeah, sounds good, Chris. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, good luck with that. I hope everything works out okay for you with that. All right, we're going to call it night. So I will say that this week it is a big, we're going to hit that big 60,000 subscribers. So I'm looking forward to that. That's a big number. Heading towards my, ultimate goal of, we'll see when we get to the 100,000, but we're going to get there at some point, I'm sure. Um, all right. So what else we're going to talk about? So that's it. That the next Sunday we'll do that. All right. So we're going to call it a night. I just want to tell everybody thank you for stopping by and spending some of your Sunday night here with me. If you didn't subscribe to my Get It Done home repair channel, make sure you subscribe. I see a lot of my regulars from here over there as well. I do have a couple of videos. I think I just put one up on the Get It Done channel. So check it out and see what you think about that. All right, and thanks for stopping by your Sunday night, spending time here with me, so you can listen to me talk about the stuff that happened in my life and all the fun things I've done. All right, as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next Sunday, same time, same place.